I'd like to introduce you to Brent Leatherwood. He's the acting president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention. Brent, welcome to our annual meeting.
Well, thank you, Tim, and it's so good to be virtually with our partner churches there in Iowa, and we are so thankful for the leadership that you are providing Iowa Baptists.
All right, thank you. Well, speaking of leadership, where's Dr. Moore?
Well, as probably a number of folks there in Iowa know, Dr. Moore left as president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission on June 1st of this year. And so we have gone through a bit of a leadership transition as we are trying to figure out who God has that will be leading the ERLC into the future.
All right, very good. It's your acting president. Go ahead, introduce us a little bit, and we'd like to hear your story.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Brent Leatherwood, and I get the privilege of leading this organization at this time. And I think this is a critical time, this time of transition. And my background is actually in the political and policy arena, and I've been a part of several transitions, and so I'm getting to recall that professional memory and really rely on it now for our team. And just let me be clear, even though we are in a time of transition in terms of identifying who the Lord has to lead the ERLC into the future, the team that remains here at the ERLC, both here in Nashville and in our Washington, D.C. office, is an incredibly talented, skillful, and a team that wants to honor the Lord in the work that He has called us to in the public square. And so earlier in September, our trustees of the ERLC, they named me acting president and asked that I would just continue to serve and lead the organization in the months ahead, while our presidential search team carries out its work in determining who should be the next president. And that timeline, honestly, it could move very quickly, or it could be a bit more of a drawn out time frame. We are expecting that by next June, when Southern Baptists gather in Anaheim, California for our next annual meeting, we will likely have identified who the next president of the ERLC is. And so this is my team to lead, and I count it as a privilege to not only lead this team, but to continue to be the voice for Southern Baptists in the public square in a time where there are significant challenges to life and religious liberty and human dignity, both here domestically in America and abroad internationally. And so we're going to continue to carry out that mission that Southern Baptists have given us and that we are privileged to carry, as well as fortify the relationships that we have across the convention. And that is something that is a major priority for me in this season.
All right, very good. Thank you. Congratulations, Brent. We're glad for your service. Why don't you outline for us a few bullet points on what you would say were the primary objectives or functions of the ERLC?
Sure. So our main objective is to help our churches understand the moral demands of the gospel, particularly as it relates to public policy. And in that role, we have the responsibility of going into the public square. As a matter of fact, we have a very missions-oriented mindset, just like our sister entities at the IMB or NAM. We see ourselves as being sent into the public square to represent Southern Baptists, not only on the policy goals that we have, but to actually have gospel conversations with other actors that are in the public square and help them to see the love of Jesus and to hopefully have the opportunity to have a gospel conversation about our Lord. And we think we've been very successful in that. And we are in a number of conversations, whether it is nationally on Capitol Hill, or in our courtrooms and advocating for life or religious liberty, or internationally, going to the UN, going to Parliament in the UK, and trying to help people understand just why it is that Christians care so much about certain issues that we in the Southern Baptist Convention have decided, whether it is through our ministry assignment or through resolutions that are passed at each annual meeting. We see it as our duty to carry forward what our messengers have told us is a priority for the SBC.
All right, very good. When you look back in the last 12 months, what would you say are some of the highlights of the ERLC and what you've been able to accomplish?
Well, one just happened this fall, just a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. Now, some of the folks there in Iowa, they may recall that just prior to COVID, we were very excited to do our very first international ultrasound machine placement. These are pro-life machines that we partner with local entities on the ground to help mothers that are in crisis, mothers that are vulnerable to a very predatory abortion industry that continually sends them the message that the life that they are carrying can easily be discarded. We have found that one of the strongest ways to protect the life of that preborn child is to place an ultrasound machine and give them the opportunity to see that life that is growing within them up close. And for the first time, an initiative that we have here, the Psalm 139 initiative, we have the opportunity to place that overseas in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is a part of the United Kingdom, and traditionally it has been seen as one of the most pro-life places on the earth. Well, over the course of the last 2 years, Parliament has essentially decriminalized abortion and opened up that entire population of people to the scourge of abortion. And we got messages from colleagues over there and peers over there talking about how they were not ready for this moment. Essentially, it is a Roe versus Wade moment in Northern Ireland. And so we felt a longing to place one of our ultrasound machines over there, and COVID interrupted that, but praise God, we were able to withstand that and just be a little bit patient, and we were able to place the first private life-saving ultrasound machine over in Northern Ireland, which is a truly significant win. At the same time, you can't talk about the last year without some of the challenges related to COVID and the various restrictions that were placed on individuals and churches. And, I would say we have been able to help a number of pastors navigate those instances. And honestly, one of the untold stories from that time is how many pastors have now developed strong working relationships with local elected officials. And I think now there are a number of state and local officials who see churches as indispensable partners in serving their communities. And only God knows how he's going to be able to open doors and what sorts of conversations and pathways to gospel conversations that will happen through that experience. But we are absolutely so taken aback by how our churches have navigated these moments. And it's truly been a great opportunity for the SBC to shine. And I think our legal work for the SBC has really done some great things. In the summer of 2020, we were actually cited by the U.S. Supreme Court on the issue of ministerial exception, which essentially states that churches and religious organizations be allowed to hire the people who agree with their deeply held religious convictions. And the Supreme Court cited our brief on that. And that is that's probably an underappreciated ruling that came from the U.S. Supreme Court, but it's one that carries significant weight on behalf of religious liberty. And we see it as our role to protect religious liberty. And so those are some of the highlights over the last year for sure.
Oh, that's so wonderful. We're grateful for you and the staff and for all the investment that you've put into these areas. If you look forward to the next 12 to 24 months, what are some of the initiatives or projects that the ERLC is working on that are capturing your attention?
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, pretty soon, very soon, as a matter of fact, we will be announcing a major pro-life initiative that we think a lot of Southern Baptists and evangelicals writ large are going to be very excited about. January 2023 will mark 50 years since the disastrous Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision, and we are driving towards that moment. It will be a major cultural moment where, honestly, the issue of abortion is going to be heavy in the air, and we want to use that cultural moment to leverage people's attention and to point them in the direction of life, of choosing life, and understanding just the implications of preborn children being fellow image bearers, and how they absolutely should have a right to life. And we think that that moment is going to be incredibly important in culture. And so we are excited that very soon we will be announcing a major initiative on that you in Iowa can partner with us, your churches can, and we think it's really going to be something that's powerful. At the same time, at this most recent annual meeting, we were given the assignment of carrying out a 3-year assessment of sexual abuse across the convention. And this is certainly a heavy assignment, but it's one that we think there is a lot of potential for partnership between our sister entities, with state conventions, with local churches, to just really try and figure out how abuse has been addressed. Are there better ways to address it, to care for survivors, and ultimately to prevent it from continuing to occur within our convention? And so we are in the very early stages of planning out what that assessment will look like, and we look forward to over the next 3 years reporting back to the annual meeting about the results of that assessment, and where we have done really well, where we have fallen short, and where we can certainly get better. So those are some of the major initiatives that are just on the horizon.
All right, very good. If you had 1 minute left of our conversation and would like to address pastors and staff and messengers of Baptist Convention of Iowa churches, what would you have to say?
You know, I would say that over the last few months, there's been a sense of disunity within the convention, and in many ways, trust seems to be at a low point. And I stressed this in recent remarks that I made to the SBC Executive Committee, that we are only at our best when we see and rely upon each other. We are interdependent upon each other. And I think that when Baptists see us cooperating together, that actually makes us stronger as a convention. And so your ERLC, we are focused like a laser on issues of life and religious freedom and protecting human dignity. And we think that really carries out the will that is expressed at by our messengers at our annual meeting and from our churches. And so we consider it a mighty privilege to be your voice in the public square. And we are so grateful for your partnership, your cooperative partnership to help fuel our work in the public square.
All right, Brent, thank you. Thank you for the time today, for the report and update, and for your service this year. And may God bless you as you continue to lead the ERLC over these next several months.